Stratters, Bobgar here, and welcome to $10 Deck. This first slide is going to go over our enemy, our hated enemy. We've lost to Tron for like 3 or 4 weeks in a row, and so our goal this week is to build a deck that, even if it's not good, at least has a fighting chance against Tron. So what do we do against Tron? We destroy their Tron pieces. So we're going to be playing a red-green land destruction deck in Modern. It's going to be running a whole bunch of land destruction. It's going to kill their lands. That's basically what the deck's going to do. That's it for this slide. Let's look at some of our land destruction. Stone Rain and Molten Rain are both 3-drop land destruction, so these are the earliest ones we can get out. They're both pretty powerful. Stone Rain is kind of a classic, just destroy target land. Molten Rain is a little newer. It destroys a land, and if that land is non-basic, it also deals 2 damage to that opponent, which is kind of nice. And we're also running 4 Mwonvuli Acid-Moss. I have no idea how to say that. But it not only destroys one of your opponent's land, it also ramps you a little bit. It gets you a land out of the deal. It gets you a forest. So in addition to these land destruction spells, we're running some land destruction creatures. The weakest of which is Avalanche Riders. We just really needed another 4-drop, and I wanted a few more creatures in the deck, so I decided to slot him in. Mostly he's going to come down, destroy a land, and then act as a chump blocker. You're usually not going to want to pay his Echo, at least if he's coming down early. Later game, it can be worth it just because you don't have a lot else to do. Goblin Dark-Dwellers is really neat in the deck. It can flash back a lot of the spells in the deck, including Stone Rain and Molten Rain, which we just looked at. And it's obviously just a 4/4 menace, which is a pretty big threat. And Deus of Calamity, I'm running a 3 of. This one's a little spicy. It's a 6/6 trample for 5, which is actually pretty good. And it has trample, which is a nice upside. And if it's not blocked at all, if it does all 6 damage to an opponent, you get to destroy a target land that opponent controls. So if they don't have anything to block with, you kind of keep going on this land destruction plan. And if they do have something to block with, a lot of times they'll just chump it, still take a bunch of damage. And yeah, you don't get to destroy land, but they just lost a creature and took a bunch of damage. Our final creature is Acidic Slime. Acidic Slime is a 2/2 for 5, which doesn't seem like a good deal, but it has Death Touch, and when it enters the battlefield, you get to destroy an artifact, enchantment, or land. So it's one of our more flexible cards, and it continues along this land destruction path if that's what we need to do. It can also grab Aether Vial and things like that for decks that are kind of getting around our land destruction in that route, or getting in Staring Veg that are keeping our creatures from attacking. So it has some neat upsides to it. And so this creature package was made in such a way that there's not a lot of removal in Modern that hits them very well. Path to Exile hits all of them, but Lightning Bolt only hits 2 of them. Those are Acidic Slime and Avalanche Riders, and by the time it hits them, they've really already done their job. So if they cast Lightning Bolt on those 2, your opponent's really 2 for 1ing themselves. And the new Fatal Push card that has Revolt doesn't hit any of them except for technically Avalanche Rider if they've triggered the Revolt on it. But otherwise, they're all higher than 4 converted mana cost, so it whiffs on all of them. So these creatures are actually pretty sticky. It's a little tricky for our opponent to remove them without sweepers. So that's kind of their upside there. Then we do need to get to 5 mana, which isn't a super big task in Modern, but it does mean we want to run a little bit of ramp. We want a little bit of reach. So Search for Tomorrow is our 1-drop ramp spell, and Sakura-Tribe Elder is our 2-drop ramp spell. There are some better ramp spells in these slots, but we're trying very hard not to run creatures that we need to stick around, and we'll see why in just a moment. We're also running 3 Harmonize, which I decided to put on the ramp page, even though it's not technically ramp, just because it does draw us to more lanes if we need them, and it also just draws us a threat if we need a threat, and draws us more land destruction if we need more land destruction. It's obviously not necessarily going to get us what we want. It could just get us, you know, a pile of 3 garbage cards, but it gives us a little bit of ability to get ahead of our opponent while we're keeping them under this hopeful land destruction lock. And then creature kill. So this is the final main board card other than lands, and we are just running 4 Pyroclasm. I know it shows like 8 Pyroclasm here. We're actually only running 4. You're not allowed to run 8, and we wouldn't even if we could. I was considering running Firespout instead. I have 2 in the sideboard, I think, just because 3 damage sometimes is relevant instead of 2. But in most cases, 2 is relevant, is good enough, and we really want to be able to get this out on turn 2 if they have a lot of creature ramps sometimes, especially if they're on the play to like combat elves or things like that. And a lot of times on turn 3 or 4, you can play this and play a land destruction spell, which is a pretty big upside as well. So I went with the Pyroclasms in the main board, and then our lands. Our lands are 11 forests and 7 mountains. Pretty obvious. And then 4 Rootbound Crags. That's 22 lands total. So we're a little heavy on land, but not super heavy on land. We want to be a little heavy because we are running those 5 mana threats. We're running quite a few of them, I think 9, so we do want to get up to 5 mana, but we don't want to totally flood out either. Even though it only shows 8 here, we're also, even though it only shows 22 here, we are running 8 land ramp spells as well, so those are kind of like land slots in our deck. So realistically, it's almost like we're running 30 lands. And then our sideboard. So for a sideboard, we're running Tormod's Crypt. That looks familiar. I think this is the first sideboard we haven't run Ghost Quarters, just because we have so much other destruction of lands already. It didn't seem worth it. 2 Guttural Responses. This is really good against Control, which is probably one of our worst matchups. 2 Lightning Bolts gives us a little reach, helps us kill slightly bigger creatures or double up with Pyroclasm, which is just good in places where we really want some removal. 3 Natural States. Obviously, this is for things like Affinity. It helps us out a lot. 2 Firespouts, either if we need more wipes or we just need bigger wipes. 3 Crumble to Dust. Crumble to Dust does come in against things like Tron or anything where we really just want the extra land destruction, and Avalanche Rider or something isn't very good. And then a single Omnath, Locus of Rage. So we actually are running close to 30 lands if you consider the spells that all they do really is get us lands. So he can be a pretty good late game threat for us, and I like playing him in games where the opponent has sweepers. The games are going to go a little bit long. Throw him in there, put him out, hopefully generate a token or 2 on the turn you put him out, and then if they sweep him or something, you're going to do 3 to 6 or 9 damage to them as those elementals die. And if they don't kill him, then you just have a ton of power on the board. So he's super spicy, but I thought it was a fun inclusion. I don't know if he's actually that good, but yeah, you gotta include one fun inclusion in the sideboard. And then I wanted to add one extra slide about our matchups. So I think this deck is not very good. I'm gonna say that up front. I think we're gonna be lucky if we win 2 matches. We're probably likely to win 1 out of 5. I don't think we're likely to win more than 1 out of 5, and this is basically why. So our matchups, Tron and big mana decks. By big mana decks, I mean decks that run a lot of either creature ramp that will hit with Pyroclasm or land ramp like Utopia Sprawl that will hit with our land destruction. We're probably about 65-35 against them. Tron can get out from under us, especially if we're on the draw. Our land destruction is a little slow because of some of the budget restrictions that we have. We don't get to run Utopia Sprawl, for instance, which would allow us to have a much better chance of hitting our 3-drop mana destruction on turn 2. Basically, we can never do that. We have to wait for our 3-drop mana destruction until turn 3. Sometimes we can hit our 4-drop mana destruction on turn 3. Yeah, a higher budget version would probably be 75-25 for a number of reasons, but for our version, we're probably like 65-35 against them. On the draw, I think we're probably close to 50-50, and then on the play, we're probably like 75-25. Go wide aggro, we don't have a great matchup against. They're a little fast for us. If they get a good board presence out quickly before we can destroy their lands, we're in a lot of trouble. The matchup comes down a lot to, do we draw a Pyroclasm? How many Pyroclasms do we draw? How many lands did our opponents draw? Basically, if we get a Pyroclasm and 2 or 3 land destruction, a lot of times we will win the game just because our opponents go wide aggro decks usually only run 18 lands. And at 18 lands, if you destroy 2 of them, they very well might not draw another land. So even if they have Goblin Guides and things like that cost 1 mana, if they're stuck on 1 mana or less, you're going to be able to sweep them with Pyroclasm, get to your bigger threats, and get them out and win the game pretty quickly. But the problem is, a lot of games you're just not going to draw your Pyroclasm, or like I mentioned with Tron, we're a little bit slow on the mana destruction. They're going to get up to 2. Maybe they actually do have the 3rd, and we just can't keep them below 2. And they can operate on a very small number of lands, so it ends up not being very effective occasionally. Go tall aggro, it's kind of a similar story, except for the fact that Pyroclasm doesn't do well against them. So these are things like Death Shadow aggro, which is one of the, I think right now it's probably the best deck in the format. So bad news for us, we are terrible against the best deck in the format. I will say I did play 1 match with them testing this with a slightly different version of the Land Destruction deck, and I did beat them, and it was the only game I played against them, but there was no way in heck that I should have beat them. I mean, we do have the advantage that they have a few dead cards like Fatal Push, but in general, they are just going to run over us with Tarmogoyfs and Death Shadows, and we don't have any good way to interact with those, and they're so cheap to get out that we just can't really stop them. The reason I give us a 25% shot is because they do run few enough lands that sometimes they just get stuck on 1 or 2, and we destroy those 1 or 2, similar to the Go Wide system, and it's just like, well, if they don't have those 1 or 2 lands, they can't function at all, and we can eventually grind them out. but we don't have a very good matchup against them. Against mid-range, we're back up to about 40-60. We have similar problems to go tall strategies. The Pyroclasms aren't very good against them most of the time. Sometimes they're okay if they're running things like Birds of Paradise or Noble Hierarchs, or they're doing some kind of collected company thing and putting out a bunch of small things. But for the most part, they're going to be able to get out threats like Tarmogoyf that are just hard for us to kill. If they have threats that are a little bit more expensive, we can do okay because we have a chance to kind of landlock them. But if they don't have threats that are expensive and they get out 1 or 2 of their 2 or 3 mana threats before we can really stop them, we're not going to have a lot of game because a lot of their threats are just going to be too big for us to deal with. Or sometimes I'll run a Planeswalker, and Planeswalkers are very hard for us to deal with. And Control is another really pretty bad matchup for us. Our ability to fight their land helps a lot. If we can get them under a land lock, it's pretty powerful. But their counters often keep us from getting off the turn 3 land destruction. And if we miss that, a lot of times they'll have Cryptic Command and other Remand and things like that up to stop us / slow us down enough to get control over the game. And they'll get Sweepers, which are really powerful against our threats, which don't die to other things. They typically have Path to Exile. Blue-white is the most common, or blue-white-red, or things like that. And the Path to Exile is one of the stronger cards against us. And then they have Planeswalkers a lot of the time to finish things out. And their Planeswalkers, again, are very, very strong against us. So I found most Control matchups. I played Control once or twice. I often did take a game off them, but they are a hard matchup for a lot of reasons. They have a lot of tools to beat us. And so those are our matchups. That's why I would say don't get super hypey on this deck. I am going to go play games now. I haven't played any games with the deck yet that are recorded. And my prediction is win 1 match, lose 4. But hopefully it'll be fun. Hopefully we'll run into Tron and beat them. In all of my testing, even though I have played against Tron in every single one of these I've done, I have not run into Tron once in testing with this deck. So I have no idea if it's actually even good against them. I hope it is. I hope I'll bring in the Crumble to the dust from the sideboard in game 2 and just make them cry. But it's also possible we'll just hit that 35% and lose to Tron again. So who knows? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the deck tech, and here I go into a game. Thanks for watching, guys. See you later. Hey guys, Bobgar here, playing some $10 red-green land destruction in Modern. This deck is super jank, but that's okay. That's how I like it. This hand is a little awkward, but I do have a sweeper, which can be nice. I do have a ramp, which is going to be a little slow. My land destruction's not really here. It's so-so, but I think I keep, and I think I just mountain turn 1. And then Rootbound Crag plus Search for Tomorrow turn 2, which is a little iffy, but I mean, I could Pyroclasm turn 2 if for some reason I really need it. Like maybe if he's Affinity and he just dumps a ton of stuff. Well, I don't know what he is. That's an interesting card to see. I might not be doing much for the next couple of turns. If maybe he's like eggs or something. I don't know. I don't know what he's doing. I could really use a 3rd land so that I'll eventually get to 4. Some kind of artifact deck. Maybe some kind of really strange lantern control deck. He definitely doesn't want to destroy that. Oh, maybe he is like eggs. Well, what do I draw? Sakura-Tribe Elder. Well, there's definitely worse things to draw. That I can play. That means next turn I can Acid-Moss, which is pretty handy. So I think I pass. I probably shouldn't have auto-yielded just in case he had a removal and I could activate Sakura-Tribe Elder in response, but I didn't need to, so it's all good. So one of them will get red, one of them will get green. Interesting. Exile a non-land card from your hand. Spells of that you cast, share type, cost 2 less to cast. I'm guessing Artifact is my suspicion. My guess is he's maybe a big mana Artifact deck. Yeah, he exiles Artifact with it. He has 3 cards left in hand, so he's some kind of combo. Don't know what kind of combo yet. Oh, he can dump some things from his hand, draw some cards. Yeah, he's got to be like an egg style deck, right? Oh, he's a Mirror Retriever combo deck. I don't think, given that he got that out, I don't think we're going to be very good against that unless I happen to draw Acidic Slime, which I don't run too many of. So, could be in for a little bit of trouble. Pass turn. I get a land. I get a forest. I could Harmonize instead, but even though land is not really going to be his problem, I still think There's also an argument for Stone Rain here. I still think this is the better play. I want to get a little bit more mana, maybe be a little bit more proactive. Go Forest. Pass turn. I mean, I'm going to be able to destroy all his lands, but it probably won't do that much. I guess it depends. I don't know how he's killing me with the Retriever combo yet. Okay. So now he can get a lot of mana. And this, I assume you don't actually have to break. Yep, you don't have to break that to draw a card. So he gets 3 cards off of the Ironworks. Seems good. He's going to get a lot of mana here. On the bright side, we have some good cards against this deck that will come in, and we have some cards that are absolutely terrible against this deck, namely the Pyroclasm, which will come out. Yeah, this is his turn 4. We'll see if it goes to my... Yeah, I already had my turn 4. My turn 4, I went to 5 mana. Yep. Alright, so he has a ton of mana. Now he needs to show me that he can actually do something with it. He sacks that, gets back another thing to draw cards. He's going to draw 2 cards off that and generate mana. Seems good. What was his revealed thing, by the way? I don't remember. I saw star. Okay. He sacks that to get some colored mana. Presumably he has... I think if he has the return all from graveyard to hand, I will probably scoop to that. I think that's just enough draw steps to get me. But yeah, he hasn't shown me yet. All right, yeah, I think I'll scoop to that. That seems fair. So he got it. He got the combo off. I was correct about what deck it was pretty early on. So Pyroclasm out for sure. Tormod's Crypt in for sure. Probably natural states too. They don't hit that much. The problem is they don't hit the thing I need them to hit, which is the Ironworks. But they do hit the thing that makes them cost 2 less, which feels like a pretty good thing to hit. The question only is, what do I go down if I want to put all 3 in? I'll probably just go down to Harmonize. And a little run it like that. Unfortunately, he's not the most susceptible to land destruction. I mean, I guess if he doesn't get that imprint card, he is. But if assuming he gets that imprint card like he did last game, the land destruction is just not going to do much because anything relevant in his deck he can basically play for free. So my hope is that he doesn't get that card, or that if he does, I have the natural state up. Well, this is the right land base. I think I keep. It's a little awkward, but I do have a turn 3 land destruction plus ramp in Acid-Moss. I really need to draw something good eventually here, but it doesn't feel bad. I get a turn 1 suspend, and I have a natural state up, which I will probably just only use if he... Oh, he has Thoughtseize. Well, he's probably taking the natural state, I would assume. The natural state could blow him out pretty hard. Okay, he takes the natural state. That's fine. Ticks down. I draw. Okay, well, it's not the worst. In fact, if I get to 5 mana, I can use it to flashback the natural state. He did slow himself down a little bit by Thoughtseizing turn 1, potentially, so that feels good-ish. But if he has a really good hand, I'm just going to be screwed anyway. And he has a pretty good hand. That Ancient Stirrings is definitely exactly what he wanted to be doing there. Find the combo piece quickly. So he's going to have this. It doesn't look yet like he's going to have it till turn 4, but I think he could have it. No, I don't think he can likely have it next turn. So that's good for me. This comes off suspend. I play it. I guess I'll get... It doesn't really matter. I guess I'll get another green. Draw. Well, that's could be a lot worse. I think I will Acid-Moss here. Get rid of... Do I want to get rid of the Glimmer Void or that? I guess I'll get rid of the basic Swamp, because the Glimmer Void I can hit with Molten Rain. Get slightly more out of the deal. Get a Forest on in there. Pass turn. Okay, he has an indestructible land. That one is slightly annoying against me. Sure, he plays that. Seems pretty good. And I think here I actually don't play Dark Dweller, and I just play Molten Rain, which doesn't feel good to me, but I don't think I don't want to use Natural State on either of those two if I can help it, because this gets a card when it goes to graveyard anyway. So I'll just use Molten Rain there. Pass turn. Hopefully he plays another land that I can Molten Rain with the Dark-Dweller. Nope, just another Terrarion. So now it's a little trickier. So I can play Dark-Dwellers, which I think I should, and the only question is whether I flash back Natural State, which doesn't really do much here, or whether I flash back like Search for Tomorrow, which also doesn't really do a lot here. Basically, I'm playing him, and I'm going to flash back something. I'm obviously not going to flash back Molten Rain because that's indestructible, but I could do Search for Tomorrow or Natural State. I think I'm going to do Search for Tomorrow and hope he plays out a better target for Natural State later. Or for Molten Rain. So pass. Cast. Let's get a mountain. Pass the turn. Okay, he gave up. Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably an appropriate time for him to give up. I did not think it was likely he was going to get out of that. What does all of this do? Is it destroy? Oh, that's not showing me the text. Exile target non-basic land. So this would kill his indestructible lands. That's something worth thinking about. I think that makes them better than Avalanche Riders. He is running a lot of non-basics too. I don't know if I want to put all three in, but I think that's actually I think I will, because I think I'll cut an Acidic Slime, because usually he's good because of the Death Touch, which just is totally irrelevant in this matchup. In fact, maybe I'll cut an Acidic Slime and put in another Harmonize too, because the 2 damage clock just isn't that great. Well, no, it's not true. I can kill. I lied. I think I'll actually go down. I don't know. Acidic Slime can kill his Ironworks if he puts it out on a turn where it's killable. That's the advantage of that. Well, yeah, I think 2 Crumble to Dust is enough. I don't really want more than 1 anyway. I just want the 1 for the indestructible land. So, and he does give a Slight Clock, and he can destroy any artifacts. So I think that's probably good. The Natural States didn't look good there, but I think they're still better than my other options. I guess the other option is I could put in just like Lightning Bolt or some kind of Burn Spell or Avalanche Riders and Crumble to Dusts. But it doesn't really need lands that much. I think that's about as good as it's going to get. This one's a little awkward. This is not one that I really... It's not a matchup I built this sideboard for. I didn't look at this matchup and go, man, I need to beat the Clack, Iron Claw, Iron Clack, whatever it's called, deck. Was not on my radar when I was making this deck. If you'll notice in the deck tag, I did a little thing about various decks I expected to run into, and let me tell you, that was not one of them. Well, that's a little annoying. Okay, Mirror Retriever, that's fine. I don't think I want to kill any of these things yet. I think I'll put out my Sakura-Tribe Elder. Pass turn. I think I find a green here, because I need double green for this. Hopefully I'll top deck a land. Green also does Natural State. I can do Stone Rain either way. He does have all of those. Sure. He exiles a card. He's going to be able to put down a bunch of stuff now if he wants to. Okay, he doesn't. Sacrifice. For green. Right, passes turn. I mean, I'm in a slightly awkward position here, but I'm obviously just going to Natural State that main phase before we can even untap. And pass turn. It seems way more important than... I mean, I guess if he has the 4th land, he can just play the Ironworks now. Hey, and I got a 4th land. That's really good. I'll use my Acid-Moss to kill Blooming Marsh, I guess. Get myself another land. Sure, he has Ghost Quarters. It doesn't seem very good against me. Plays out a Sphere. Breaks the sphere for green. What does he have with his green mana? Oh, probably... He has nothing. Oh, he's just breaking it to look, I guess. Alright, so I have some options here. It might be worth Stone Raining just so that I can Stone Rain again next turn. I could see that as a viable option, because that way I can Dark-Dwellers next turn, which feels better. Otherwise, I could Acid-Moss now. If I Acid-Moss, what does that put me at? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6... Even at 7, I wouldn't be able to do both, so I think Stone Rain is probably just better here. I really want to get off these Harmonizes at some point, too. I'm going to Stone Rain his Glimmer Void. Pass. And then Dark-Dwellers, Flashback, Stone Rain. Oh, another land. He has a lot of land this time. Draws a card from that. Pass his turn. 2, 3, 4, 5. I will target Stone Rain. I guess I could have targeted Natural State too, but I can do that later if I really need to. Right now there's nothing worth Natural Estating. I think if he played another imprint card. Okay, play this, target it on Snow-Covered Plains. Okay, got it. Pass turn. Okay. He passes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3. Hard cast, search for tomorrow, get a forest. Acid-Moss on Inventor's Fair. Get another forest. Swing on in. He gives up. So we beat it. The land destruction worked. I'm a little surprised. Did not think we were getting there. But, alright. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you next time. Hey guys, Bobgar here. I just really wanted to quickly say, if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. If you enjoy my content in general and would like to see more of it, subscribe. I'll be coming out with content, probably not as frequently as I would like, but I will be coming out with more content in the future. And please leave me comments and let me know what I'm doing right, what I'm doing wrong, both in terms of production and in terms of my play and my deck building and all that. Yeah, and again, as I always say, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will see you guys next time.